Hi there. I'm Clive, Rocky Mountain Hunchback, and I'm here to introduce my new show, and it's called The Clive Show. Now, they wanted me to call it something else. You know what I said? Well, actually, we won't talk about that just now. I'm here to talk about banjos, and I don't want to talk about banjo playing per se. We're going to do that. We're going to do some lessons in various types of banjo playing, but I want to talk about it enough just here, just so you get some idea of why the different kinds. Now, this here banjo, this is a S.S. Stewart, made in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, banjo, and it's called Universal Favorite. The Universal Favorite was the budget S.S. Stewart banjo. This is an old banjo, and this is a lot of people call this a frailing banjo. I don't know about that, but this is kind of an old-fashioned banjo, and you see banjos made this way today too. This banjo has a wooden rim with what they call German silver metal around it. Now, first thing is, it's not German, and the second thing is, it's not silver. So as long as you keep that in mind, understand. This is a German silver rim. It has this metal around the wood. It's really cool. I don't know how they do it, but it's really cool. And this one's very cool. Some of them look a little rough. This one's very nice. And inside it has a tubular, bent tube ring. And that's in between the wood rim and the skin head. And that creates a lot of the sound. Now this banjo has, they call them nyegut strings. It sounds kind of funny, don't you think? Nyegut. But anyway, they're strings that are supposed to be like the old-fashioned gut strings, which this banjo was designed to play. A lot of people play these banjos with steel strings, which is fine, but I wanted this sound. Now this has a soft sound, you know. Sweet, soft sound. Now, I like playing this banjo a lot, and I like that sweet, soft sound, but what I really like is this banjo is very precise. And we're going to talk about that as we go along, too. There's a lot of things that make an instrument good. The wood, the condition of the instrument, but one of the things is precision. And you want it as precise as possible. I want it as precise as possible. I'm going to make mistakes. I want them to be my mistakes, not the instrument. So this is a very precise banjo. And so a lot of people call these old-timey banjos. We're going to talk about another kind of banjo. Now, this banjo ain't really a very good example of that other kind of banjo because it's made a little different than usual. But I'm going to use it to demonstrate that other kind of banjo because it's the only one I have that's like that. So even though it isn't exactly like that. So this here banjo is a Vega banjo, and this is a 1960s, it's 1961 actually, conversion banjo. That is to say that this part of the banjo here, the pot part of the banjo, originally wasn't on with this neck. This neck was made in 1961, I think most likely because this was either part of a tenor banjo or it was a plectrum banjo, but it wasn't a 5-string. And in the 60s, 5-strings became popular. There was a rash of conversion necks made, and that's where this banjo came from. So this type of banjo has a couple of features that are different from that one. It still has a wood rim, and this one has metal on the outside, but it ain't that German silver. This is a different kind of a metal applique technique, and it looks kind of like that. And this is a sort of a more modern banjo than that one, made to kind of look like that banjo, and or made to look like a kind of old-fashioned banjo. So this is kind of a mixture of things. But what you got inside of here is, instead of that rolled brass ring, this one has a cast brass ring that's then chrome-plated. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot heavier, it has chambers and so forth, and it's designed to create a certain kind of a ringing sound. And it's considered desirable. This one's got a ring that's called a tubaphone. tone ring, and it's a good sound. It's a really good sound. But it's quite a different thing. And generally speaking, those kind of banjos will have a resonator, and almost always they have a wooden resonator. And of course, since I'm trying to demonstrate it to you, this one doesn't have a wooden resonator. This one has a metal. This is called a hubcap resonator. It's just chrome-plated brass resonator. I like the sound of it. It came off of a tenor banjo, not the same one as this rim came off of, but another tenor banjo. They're all Vega banjos, and they just got put together. It's called a Frankenstein. A little bit different from pretty much any other one. This has got what they call a hubcap resonator, and it's brass, and it's held on by this screw through the middle that goes down through the dowel rod. Now, most banjos these days don't have a dowel rod either, so I don't know what to tell you about that. But this banjo, a lot of bluegrass banjos and so forth and so on, they have rods inside they call coordinator rods. There are two of them, and it does what the dowel rod used to do, dowel stick, whatever you want to call it. But this one has a wooden stick, and there's a screw into it. Now this banjo also is electric, so I got to be careful when I take this apart, because there's a connection right here, and it's wired to the front. And if I pull it apart, which I have before, it's a pain in the neck, so I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm just going to lift this right off, and I already know where the wires are and all that, so I know where to be careful. Get that over there like that. It sits on top of a, well, if you had it up the other way, it sits on this wooden rim, and the wooden rim is cut to fit the tone ring. Tone ring sits there, but it's not tied on there. It sits loose, and then you stretch the head over the tone ring, and that's what creates your sound. Now this tone ring is called a tubaphone tone ring, and this is a pretty desirable tone ring. People like this tone ring, and it sounds really good in this banjo. But that is what creates your sound. A lot of banjos these days have what they call a master tone style tone ring. That's a little bit different from that. If I had one of those, I'd show it to you, but I don't have one right now. But this very much like, it's got holes in it. It's a little bit different shape, but it's kind of same kind of thing. This is chrome-plated brass, this here banjo. And I made a lot of changes to this banjo. So this is the next one. You can see what I did here. I tried to find extra long brackets for this banjo, and I can't find anyone makes extra long brackets. So instead of that, I put these washers in here, and that caused my nuts to be further out, because I want this here hubcap resonator to be up against these posts. Now, this is a kind of a strange affair. For one thing, you got these like 500,000 washers on there that ain't really part of the banjo, and it looks kind of funny. But also, I think the sound would be better if it was a smaller space, and just a very small space there. So what I want to do, if you look up here, this part of the banjo, you can see where the neck connects to the banjo. The way it was originally cut, there's about 3/8 inches space there. And if that 3 inches were up, in other words, this part that's cut in a straight line here, if that were right up against the head here, this is the rim of the head, if that were right up against there, that would bring the whole banjo up about 3/8. That would allow this to come up 3/8. It would still fit up against here like it does, because everything would be moved up. That would be a smaller space there. Those washers would be gone, and this would be cool. And this would also lift this neck up. It'd be higher. It'd be more like a bluegrass banjo. And that would be appealing to me, because it would allow me to have a taller bridge and a higher space here, and I think we'd have a louder banjo and a clear as a bell sound. This is already clear as a bell sound, but I think that would be a really nice So I'd like to do that with this banjo just as soon as I could.